at that. I've got Twitter on my phone, almost 4,000 followers, and all the hundreds I've blocked as well, for goodness sake. Social media, modern communication. There are people on both sides. There are those who say it's changed everything for the better. The Arab Spring, yeah, how's that working out for you? Change, isn't it marvelous? And there are those who bemoan, oh, it's terrible, it's dumbing us all down. The answer's probably somewhere in the middle, I suppose. But just lately, we've had several examples of just sheer lunacy. We had the diver in Britain, the young British diver who came fourth instead of winning a medal. His father had died of a brain tumour shortly before. People attacking him, your father will be ashamed, and then death threats and so on. After that, we had on Facebook idiots who worship mass murderers and killers. I mean, the man who committed that terrible cannibal murder in Montreal, people who are fans of him. That idiot, moron, thug, monster who murdered people at the Batman movie. The 15-year-old girls, it seems, thinking he's so wonderful, dressing up like him. Rick McGinnis writes about social media and media in general and all sorts of other things.
Yes.
And you said something on the phone to me, which I thought was very wise. You said it might not be that people have changed. It's merely their ability to communicate their idiocy that has changed.
Yeah, I mean, something might have changed. I thought about that after I talked to you.
You took it back, did you?
No, I didn't take it back. It's just, you know, we don't have shame anymore. Yeah. There isn't as much of a sense of shame in the culture. As a result, people don't have that governor stopping them from saying silly things in public. But what we also have now is this very immediate kind of social media technology that's in place where you can just say and do anything silly you want. I mean, you can set up a Tumblr site or a Twitter feed within seconds, literally within seconds. Yeah. And, you know, every banal, ridiculous thing that you'll probably regret later in your life is now out there for the world to read. And that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, look, I have Twitter, and I use it a little, and Facebook, but you do have the ability to say, yeah, you know, I won't send that. And even if you do send something, you can maybe take it back. But look, here, a girl dressing up as someone who murdered innocent people at a movie, and saying how wonderful he is, a cannibal murderer. I mean, this is absurd. It's sickening. Do they have no sense of empathy for people their own age who were murdered, of people who will never see their child grow up because this man thought it was fun to go in and open up with an assault rifle?
Well, maybe at some point in their life, perhaps even, you know, within weeks of doing what they've done, they might have this sense of regret, but they don't have it at the time. I mean, keep in mind, specifically when we're talking about the Holmes here.
Explain the Holmes.
Holmes. They're fans, online fans of this fellow James Holmes, who committed the theater massacre in Colorado.
Who coined the word to describe them, Holmes?
I think they did, pretty quickly. It's a pretty easy pun to make, isn't it? So they did. And
how about Nazi or Hitlerite? I mean, the man's a mass murderer. There are no redeeming qualities.
Well, they don't agree. They don't agree.
What do they think are his redeeming qualities?
Well, they think he's confused. They think he was unhappy. They think, you know, the term cry for help. You know.
Well, then cry for bloody help. He murdered people, for goodness sake. It's bad enough to wear Lenin and Che Guevara T-shirts.
That's why even phrases like cry for help have almost no meaning anymore. It's like so many other things, like racist, like sexist. I mean, so many words that have essentially, words and phrases that used to have some sense of opprobrium and weight in conversation don't have that anymore. And as a result, you know, a 15-year-old girl can say, you know, it was a cry for help, knowing she's basically aping the term, aping the use of the word, but it has no meaning really anymore. I mean, no, it was not a cry for help, it was murder. But the fact is that language, Michael, you know this, language has become so meaningless, so debased, so devalued, that you can use these terms, and very, very rarely do people actually stand up and call you on it, especially in a sort of common sense vacuum like Tumblr or Twitter or YouTube.
Well, if we look at celebrities who tragically, obscenely do shape the culture to quite a large extent, I mentioned this earlier in the week, when Roseanne calls for customers who go to Chick-fil-A to get cancer. And, I mean, it's such a hideous thing to say when, what's her name, who's the black actress on The View or The Talk or whatever it's called? Yeah, when she says, but Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
Yeah.
I mean, this cretin who can't even form a sentence, who excuses raping a child because she likes the person who did it, and on and so on. The whole debate devalued. You know, Howard Stern has an opinion. I mean, the man's not even funny, for goodness sake, and he uses his black assistant in almost a slave-like role, and people still think he's amusing and cutting edge. so much devaluing of what should be a noble way of communicating ideas.
Yeah, but you were talking about the 3 least sane members of our population.
Incredibly influential people.
Yeah, which is
2 of them.
Celebrities, young people, and the insane. I mean, these are the people with the least credibility in the culture, and these are the people who are making these statements by and large. I mean, if you look at the Holmes thing, as far as we can tell, it's mostly young people, very largely young girls in their teens who are doing this. And these are people who don't tend to really give a lot of second thought, especially when they have a thought. I mean, their thought is original, it's new, it's wonderful, it has to be shared with the world. And look, I've got this medium here that I can share it with.
What about people facing legal consequences? Because as much as I despise these idiots, we had in the UK a while back a soccer player who had a heart attack. He almost died. And there was immediately the outpouring of grief from people who had never even heard of him, most of them. But, oh, it's so bad, I'm crying. It actually became quite annoying. Poor guy. I mean, he survived, and thank goodness he's going to be okay. But that was bad enough. But then you had one guy who, drunk, said, you know, so what, serves you right, or something like that. He was charged. I mean, his whole life now, he's been thrown out of university. This is a while back now, but he's thrown out of university. He has a criminal record. He'll probably never be employed because of one drunken tweet about which he apologized within moments. Do you think the police should be involved in crap like this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I am a free speech absolutist. I really believe you should be able to say whatever you want. For a variety of reasons, prime among which is you should be able to say it, and we should be able to know who you are when you say it, because when you say it, we know what you're thinking. And we can judge you accordingly.
But that's not the case, is it? But you know what happens with Twitter and Facebook and comments on pages.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of people who are so brave they want to come and get me, they don't say their name or where they live.
No, but they can. Come on, Michael, you know they can be found. It's not impossible.
Some of them can.
No, you can. You can go back to DNS numbers and things like that. It's very easy to actually find out who someone is.
Well, you can. I have to say, I mustn't give too many details, but a few years ago, a man threatened to kill me. It was very explicit, and all the things he was going to do. And a friend who used to work for the intelligence community said, "Shall I find him for you?" And I said, "Well, you can't." And he said, "Really?" He came back. It was an Iranian guy from Madison, Wisconsin, staying in a hotel in Michigan.
Yeah.
And I telephoned him.
Yeah.
And he wept on the phone and pleaded. I said to him, "You've sent me a death threat not only over a state border, over a national border. You're not a citizen." He found that out for me as well. And he wept and he begged. And I should have really just given his name to the cops, but I said, "Well, don't do it again," or something like that.
Very Christian of you, Michael.
No, just very stupid, actually. I don't know.
But, I mean, keep in mind, I mean, this is where shame is important, because the good thing about having these people out there with their, you know, posting pictures of themselves in plaid with Slurpees, calling themselves homies and that kind of thing, is that we know who they are. So now we are perfectly appraised when they try and, you know, for instance, date our sons or daughters or try and get jobs in our companies.
They all look the same. They're all 15-year-old girls.
For the most part, yes.
Good Lord.
Yes.
Remember, home is to love and...
Don't.
I'm getting old. Rick, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you, Michael.